And a very warm welcome to English News Package with radio and television for the hour. Making headlines, Tonga police recorded the fourth fatality for this year. New petroleum price made effective today, and it is highly increased in Tonga. And leaders from 54 countries is gathering in Kigali, Rwanda this week for the 2022 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. We'll have these and more stories later on in the bulletin, together with sports, to wrap up with the latest weather update. Now with the news in details. A 26-year-old man from Waini died on Sunday morning due to a road fatality at the Taufa'aha Road in Waitongo. Police confirmed it was the fourth road fatality recorded since the beginning of the year. The Deputy Police Commissioner David Avainea told Radio and Television Tonga News yesterday evening, according to the information they collected, speed driving was a contributing factor. The deceased was rushing home with another driver from a different vehicle and to beat the curfew hours. Unfortunately, as they were rushing on the road, they accidentally swayed and hit the vegetable stalls on the roadside. Vainea adds the deceased was not wearing his seatbelt at the time of the incident, which caused multiple injuries to head, which led to his death. Meanwhile, the driver of the vehicle, or the other vehicle, a 37-year-old male of Gahowa, was wearing his seatbelt, but he is currently in police custody for negligent driving and causing the death of the 26-year-old from Waini. The Deputy Police Commissioner David Avainea urges drivers to be more cautious when driving on the road to prevent further tragedies. Police investigation continues. The new prices of petroleum for the month of June to July is effective today, Monday the 20th of June. In an interview with the Deputy CEO for Ministry of Trade and Economic Development, who is also the Secretary of Tonga Competent Authority, Sandra Di Fifita says the increase are from 3 pa'anga and 83 seniti to 4 pa'anga and 28 seniti per litre, which increase with 45 seniti on petrol. Kerosene increases from 3 pa'anga and 10 seniti to 3 pa'anga and 35 seniti per litre, which increase 25 seniti, and diesel increase from 4 pa'anga and 18 seniti to 4 pa'anga and 36 seniti per litre, which increase with 18 seniti. Sandra Di Fifita, Deputy CEO for Ministry of Trade and Economic Development, elaborates on the key factors contributing to the increase. There are 3 reasons why the petroleum prices are increasing monthly. Firstly, the average prices internationally from Singapore. They are the ones who calculate the daily prices of petroleum. In that case, they also provide the average price for crude oil. Petrol, kerosene, diesel, and gas are produced in the distillation of crude oil. In the meantime, the price of crude oil increased. Secondly, the prices of transporting the crude oil from Singapore via Fiji, then Tonga. There are 2 energy companies here in Tonga, as Pacific Energy and Total. Nearly 2 shipments in a month of petroleum from abroad for these 2 companies. The third one is the foreign exchange rate. Additionally, the crisis between Ukraine and Russia has an impact on the prices, as well as Russia is one of the main oil exporters in the world. It is understood that Tonga's economy is affected due to COVID-19, including January devastation, but Fifita says the government is doing its best to assist the people during the recovery period as petroleum prices and electricity tariff increase. Leaders from 54 countries is gathering in Kigali, Rwanda this week for the 2022 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. The week-long summit is attract over 5,000 participants from government, business and civil society under the theme Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming. Waiwhanua Paula with more on this story.
This is the meeting that the Honourable Prime Minister Huakavami Liko leads Tonga's delegation to, with Tonga's delegations include the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Tourism, Honourable Fikita Muloa Utoikamanu, the Honourable Minister of Economic Development and Trade, Dr. Latu, the Chief Secretary and Secretary to Cabinet, Edgar Koka, and the Director of Health, Dr. Siale Akauola, amongst others. This is the sixth time the event has been hosted by an African country, with the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting was due to have been held in Kigali in June 2020 but has been postponed twice to this year due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, meeting have begun in the Rwandan capital on Sunday with 4 forums, including issues of youth, women, business and civil society, culminating with the official retreat for leaders at the Inter Conference Arena on Saturday the 25th. At the latest retreat, unique to the Commonwealth, heads of government meet privately to discuss collaboration on global and Commonwealth priorities. The Commonwealth is a bedrock for member states, rooted in a shared history, collective aspirations and progressive solutions. The theme for the Commonwealth Heads of Government Meeting 2022 is Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating and Transforming. This theme highlights how the 54 member countries in the Commonwealth family are innovating, connecting and transforming to help achieve some of its biggest goals, like protecting natural resources and boosting trade. Vaifanatu Paula for Radio and Television Tonga News.
The Government of New Zealand has confirmed a pre-departure test will be scrapped to start today, Monday the 20th of June. New COVID-19 Response Minister Dr. Ayesha Vero made the announcement on Thursday the 16th of this month. Dr. Vero said the government had intended to remove the requirement by the 31st of July, but as cases continued to decline despite an increase in travellers, there was evidence the measure could not be lifted. She adds that around 90% of international arrivals undertake their required testing once they are in the country, with only a 2 to 3% positivity rate, so they don't anticipate a significant increase in border cases once the requirement is lifted. The availability and cost of getting a test had also increasingly become a barrier to people travelling to New Zealand. Dr. Vero also says that travellers would still be required to self-test on day 0 or 1 and again on day 5 or 6. Anyone who tested positive would need to get a PCR test to allow the government to understand what new strains of COVID-19 were arriving at the border. Also in the evening, passengers transiting through New Zealand will no longer need to be vaccinated nor be required to complete a New Zealand traveller declaration. Travellers with COVID-19-like symptoms, example hay fever, will also be able to choose between showing a negative COVID test or a certificate from a health professional stating that they are unlikely to have COVID-19 before travelling. Last month, COVID-19 Response Minister Chris Hipkins said the full reopening of the international border was being delayed by visa processing, not public health concerns. Great leadership skills must be known or shown rather on daily work. This is part of the keynote speech by the Bishop of the Catholic Church Diocese of Tonga and Niue, His Eminence Soane Patita Baini Cardinal Mafi, in a special program hosted by the Tonga National Qualifications and Accreditation Board, or TNQAB, this morning. Vaifanatu Paula again with the details.
This morning's devotion theme is leadership, with the aim to highlight the staff of the Tonga National Qualification and Accreditation Board the importance of leadership in their workplace. His Eminence Soane Patita Baini Cardinal Mafi says leadership has been discussed many times, but he recognizes the workplace, families and many prospective areas they do not fully understand the importance of leadership. He then urged the staff of the Tonga National Qualification and Accreditation Board leadership must comply with working together as a team and help each other. Cardinal Mafi adds a person that leads a workplace or a ministry or even in the family must learn to cope with different challenges and find solutions. Meanwhile, the CEO of the Tonga National Qualifications and Accreditation Board, Dr. Opeti Pulotu, thanked His Eminence for the words of encouragement as it will help with their daily work. Vaifanatu Paula for Radio and Television Tonga News.
And foreign media has confirmed a man found dead in Auckland's Buglands Beach after the boat capsized on Sunday night. A reliable source says the man is a Tongan, in which the police said that 3 people were on the boat and 2 of whom safely made it to shore. TV1 News reported the capsized boat was recovered on Sunday morning at the northern end of Music Point, while the body was found on Sunday afternoon. Police said support was being provided to the families affected by the incident. A police boat and the Eagle helicopter were sent to search for the deceased. And that concludes tonight's English news package. But before we part, here's one final look at tonight's top stories. Tonga police recorded the 4th fatality road for this year. New petroleum price made effective today, and it is highly increased in Tonga. And the leaders from 54 countries is gathering in Kigali, Rwanda this week for the 2022 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your company. I'm Alice Dupo. Have a blessed evening.